how you choose the right lender. It's someone that you can trust and you have access to. That goes right from the pre-approval versus a pre-qualification. So you know you're good to go, but it doesn't stop there. It starts there. So the lender should be providing you with a budget so that you know what your ranges are on home, so you don't run into that.
We won't show the other area. We're in Murray's basement here. Classic. Mom, meatloaf.
I don't think that's coming.
Nobody's coming. No bringing cookies or anything. Hey everybody, welcome to a new edition, new fresh look, new everything, because it's a new year. Our first episode of Real Tor Talk in 2024. Jesse and Murray join you here. A little different backdrop here, Murray.
Yeah. We're using my office now, my home office, as our studio because, well, it's closer for us than driving all the way to Keniston. But we're working on our lighting and that, so bear with us. And really, you're not here to see our beautiful faces. I don't think you're here for the content, right? Is that it? But right. And we had to be mindful of Batman. We didn't want to make it too bright of him hanging over my shoulder here. So.
We're in the Murray cave, the Bat cave here.
There we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
A little bit of. We won't show the other area. We're in Murray's basement here. Classic. Mom, meatloaf.
I don't think that's coming.
Nobody's coming. No bringing cookies or anything. Well, we do have a little bit of a snack we're going to get to in a second, courtesy of a great local coffee place here in Winnipeg. But on today's show, Dennis Wheatland of Castle Mortgages, he's going to join us in a little bit because is it winter or spring? No, it's winter, spring-ish, but yeah.
I think we're supposed to stay like this too. So.
It's weird, especially for us realtors and buyers and sellers out there, because it feels a little different. We are inching closer to the spring market. I know you and I have both said that we've seen the increase of listings and buyers out there because it's okay to go out there because it's not minus 40. So we're going to be talking to Dennis just about, buyers putting themselves in a great position moving forward. Last month, the banks, they held still.
Yep.
Next announcement's going to be in March. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things because obviously we as realtors always want to have you guys in the best position moving forward, right?
For sure. And it's always changing. So we'll do our best to keep you guys updated on that. And hopefully everyone's wanting to know that, and we'll continue that way. So
absolutely,
our local spotlight today talks about Mountain Bean. Unfortunately, they don't have their logo on these cups. Jesse was there last week in a meeting, and I happened to go by there on the weekend because I had my daughter had a ringette game at Gateway, so we both had Mountain Bean to kind of refuel our days. So locally owned company. It's the only one in the city. It's on Henderson Highway at the corner of Bonner and Henderson. It's a great little shop. They're priced very well, actually, compared to some of the bigger coffee shops. And, it's locally owned and operated. It's the only one, and the owners had it since 2010. I don't know if it was open before that, but the existing person that owns it right now has been there since 2010. So great place. Go try it out. I love cold brew coffees, and there's, rivals, their competition, no problem.
They've got a bunch of different things, not just coffee. They got some snacks as well, different type of coffees. And then the outside, they have a nice patio in the summertime.
Yeah.
Really hard sometimes to get a good spot. Inside near the back, nice cozy, like nice.
And if you want, the liquor store is right next door, so you could sneak over there, get some Baileys on the patio. Maybe not.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just came out of dry January, but we're doing all right here. So no, wait a minute, you didn't make any New Year's resolutions, right?
I did.
You said you can't break. Well, hopefully everybody's doing well with theirs. Maybe some people are doing dry February, or taking a trip to the liquor store next to Mountain Bean, right? Whatever makes you happy. All right, let's dive into our first and only guest because we're going to give him the main stage. Dennis Wheatland is joining us now. We did something quickly with him on Instagram. If you saw, I met with him to kind of dive down what we need to get into when it comes to buyers and sellers and the market coming up. Dennis, is he a little shy or is he?
No.
I was waiting for you to go.
I wasn't letting him in. You were still talking.
Well,
we got his beautiful face.
We do have a moving picture of Dennis coming up, but he's a good-looking guy, whether it's a still photo or a video. Dennis, I've known him. I've been with Royal LePage Prime as we wait for him to connect here. I've been with Royal LePage Prime for about 8.5 years, and Dennis always there. You know what? You just
what was that?
Just wanting you more. Right?
Thank God that's the picture that was coming up there. It could have been way worse than that.
Whoa, well, I'll tell you, this is a family show, Dennis, so we want to keep her clean here. Dennis, thanks so much. Man, you just had us just waiting, just like it was like Taylor Swift on a flight back from Tokyo if she's going to make it to the Super Bowl or not. Is she going to make it?
I honestly don't know. I won't say my opinion.
I sure hope so.
I hope she makes it too, because
Oh.
that's the only way the NFL is getting extra ratings.
Man,
So,
oh
it's
man.
kinda-
All right, first, before we get it out of the way, Chiefs or 49ers, Dennis? Who are you picking this Sunday?
You know what? I 49ers. You know, I was a big Joe Montana fan, so I got to pull the old 49ers helmet out, and yeah, I'm going with the 49ers.
And the old classic gold, man. That's
Yeah.
those jerseys. They were wearing some of those this past season, and with the big bold numbers, Jerry Rice and everything like that, Joe Montana, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
That just aged me though, probably. Eh?
I'm right there with you. I remember the classic
Okay.
Elway versus Montana matchups. Come on.
You were
There you go.
You just
Oh no,
you
come
just read the
on.
history.
I go on the Google and check out Wikipedia. All right. There's other things that a lot of people do, Dennis, when they go and use the Google, is checking out mortgage rates, checking out all the different options, whether going to banks or mortgage brokers and stuff like that. There's a lot of things before they even come to Murray and I.
Mhm.
You know, for you, let's start off with what people should be doing now that we're in 2024. We'll jump to the spring market in a second, but this is just new year, new for people. So what kind of things do you tell people?
Oh, sure. You know what? It's like you say, Jess. It's the new year. I mean, we've seen, you know, with the interest rates increasing last year, a lot of people have kind of put the home buying on pause during the fall of last year. And I can tell you, I have a lot of clients that are pre-approved right now, and they're just waiting to get back out into the market. So I think you guys would, if you agree or not, but it looks like it's teed up now to be a really strong spring market. And a couple things that I would probably recommend out to my clients, which I am recommending now actually, is the number one thing. And you'd have to agree. Actually, I'll ask you too, Jess. Like right now, when a client comes in and they need to write an offer, they want to write an offer on that perfect home they found. How much time do they usually have to make that decision?
Yeah, Murray, you know, you can start off with your clients there. I know it's always different in different situations.
Well, it all depends on if there's an offer date or if it's offers is received too, right? If there's an offer date, they have a week potentially, or depending when that offer is due. But if it's offers is received, I encourage people, if they love that house, to act pretty quickly, just because they might lose it, because you don't know, right? You don't know when that next offer is going to come in. And, you know, had that happen for a client of mine just before Christmas. We were selling their place and we had an offer date, didn't get any offers on an offer date, but we ended up with multiple offers after the offer date. So
Yeah.
there's a sense of urgency in both cases, but really, if there's no offer date, that's your sense of urgency is to act on that pretty quickly.
You know, for me,
Yeah.
you know, because we are still seeing some offer dates and we're going to see it more and more in the spring market there. You know, I really try to tell people the honest truth. You know, our jobs as realtors is try to put them in the best position forward. So, you know, and you're going to add to this in a second. But for me, you know, I tell them you're possibly going to be competing against people that have maybe 2 to 3 days for financing. You know, we're gone are the 5 to 7 business days. So I always say, if we're in that position, talk to your mortgage broker about how you can probably bring those days of financing down even lower, because a seller might go with someone that has 2 over 5. So is that something that people can talk to you about?
Yeah, exactly, Jesse. And that's kind of what I was getting at with the tip here is what I would be doing right now, and what I'm telling my clients to do is, first of all, you got to get pre-approved. So there's a difference between pre-qualification and pre-approved. The pre-qualification is when you just run the numbers, and you could be walking in and talking to your lender, and they just kind of quickly run some numbers for you and say, hey, you're good to go for a certain amount. Problem is there hasn't been any work done on your file. So I really highly encourage step number one, before you even start looking at homes, is talk to your lender, make sure you're fully pre-approved. That means that they're going to sit down with you, take the time. They go through your income verification. They go through your down payment verification, check your credit. They make sure everything is good to go. And then they go over a budget with you as well to make sure what is my maximum affordability, so that, you know, if you're out shopping for a home for 400, but your dream home is 415, and you've gone through the pre-approval process, you're locked and loaded. You're ready to make a decision on that house right on the spot. So you can say, hey, yes, we can afford this home, which in a heated up market, you're not going to have a whole lot of time to do. So number one tip, take the time right up front, get fully pre-approved, and make sure that all your conditions are taken care of, so that when you're sitting down with you guys, you know, they can make a decision right on the spot.
What I do find though, Dennis, is one of the things people don't understand is the difference between the pre-approval and the actual getting the mortgage, right? oh, I'm pre-approved, it's good, doesn't matter what the house is. No, it does. And that's a point that I've seen a lot lately where people are like, well, I'm pre-approved. Yes, you are to spend X amount, but that doesn't mean they're going to approve this house.
Yeah.
How often do you get to that? Like, I haven't had anyone not be approved for the house, but I mean, I know it does happen.
You know what, Maria? It doesn't happen very often. It really doesn't. I mean, we go through the home inspections and things like that, but at the end of the day, I don't see a lot of deals fall apart because of the house. I mean, you guys as realtors, you're going to steer the people in the right direction and try to put them in something that's a good property and that. So, not often, but at the end of the day, I see way more stuff fall apart, mostly because of obvious things. Their income didn't line up or their credit didn't line up. That's the stuff that's totally avoidable up front. If all that's left for them is just for the house to pass an appraisal, for example, we're going to have a high percentage of closing.
Yeah, and that word appraisal, it's funny that you say that, because sometimes you run across an offer on our end where the buyer will write in that the seller has to give, permission for an appraiser to come in, maybe before the deal is done or stuff like that. And, sometimes people get a little bit worried about that. And I don't know, you can correct me with numbers, but I think on my end, what I tell people, even during that craziness that we saw with low interest rates, I never saw any deals fall through with the appraisal. And that was when houses were going 80 to 100 over list. So I know it's something that they might see. And I wanted to bring that up because you just mentioned the word appraisal there. How about with as we were talking about with offer dates and being in good communication with you, what would we can do as much as we can as realtors. One of the things that I always say is, once you have that pre-approval and you're having great communication with your mortgage broker or your bank, if there is a house that you saw that maybe has an offer date a week later, I always tell my clients to maybe send that listing to the mortgage broker, get them to start kind of punching some numbers and to educate them, because then say Monday night, we might be saying, hey, can you go 40 grand over? Does that help that they have that kind of relationship and that communication with you as well?
Yeah, for sure it does, Jess. I mean, it's important when you're dealing with your lender that's how you choose the right lender. It's someone that you can trust and you have access to. I mean, that goes right from the pre-approval versus a pre-qualification. So you're good to go, but it doesn't stop there. It starts there. So the lender should be providing with a budget so that you know what your ranges are on home, so that you don't run into that. People are buying homes Sunday night, not Friday, 2:00 in the afternoon. So do you have access to your lender that you can ask these last minute questions? And if you don't, then make sure that you've asked a lot of them up front. Again, what we talked about. So yeah, you should. And I always encourage my clients that are shopping, because lots of questions is keep asking, but yes, send in the listings. That's great, because then we can run the numbers, real numbers for you with the right property taxes. We can take a look at the house. And again, if there's anything that we foresee, as being an issue, then we can bring it up front, so that, again, you can write the offer with as few conditions as possible. But more importantly, it may make a difference if it takes you 3 days to get financing or just one.
Yeah. I'm just gonna pull up Dennis's personal cell and just give that to everybody for Friday at 11:30 at night. No. Oh, sorry.
Hey,
don't want that. No, I'm just
Jess. No, hey, listen, go ahead. I mean, I do most of my work actually
Go
starts
ahead.
at about Friday at 5 o'clock. Yeah. I'm not.
Well, you know what?
around for
That's
the weekend.
and that's what people, they're really surprised. But I mean, when we, as realtors and also mortgage brokers, we're here all the time. Because like you said, and you had a great point there, Dennis, that deals are not always coming together Friday at 2:00. They're happening all the time. And we as realtors and you as a mortgage broker, we're the ones that are, there to help you guys in that time when you're looking around. So that's why we don't have a set schedule in stone and stuff like that. Let's get into, as we are jumping into the spring market. I know this past weekend, Murray and I were doing a couple open houses. I know your office is probably flooded as well at Castle. A lot of first-time home buyers. That craziness of the last year and a half and 2 years is gone. And I've met so many buyers that it's like, you're coming back at a good time. This is not what it used to be. What should people be feeling, aside from picking Murray and Jesse from Royal LePage Prime to be the realtors? What should they be doing next to calling you guys?
Okay, so one thing that's really important right now is, if you've gone through the steps to get pre-approved, so let's say you've got that, you're loaded up, you're looking now to start buying a home. Number one thing that I always coach my clients is rate insurance. You have to pay attention to what interest rate market is doing. Now, we do that for our clients. We call it rate insurance. but you can do it yourself as well. I mean, it's important if your lender's not, is that if you were in and being pre-approved, for example, January 1st, you would have had a 5-year rate at about 589. That rate today is as low as 499. So what happens is when you go in to see your lender, you're going to get locked in at whatever the best rate that they want to offer you at that particular time. But what we've seen in a declining market, which is what we're in now, is rates are coming down. So as rates come down, that means your payments come down, but your affordability goes up. So you may have only qualified for a $400,000 house, but maybe now it's 450. So it's important to, revisit with your lender, your mortgage broker, your bank, or stay in communication. They should be doing it for you, but if not, stay on top of them. Find out that what is the current rate? Has the market changed? What is my new affordability? What does that mean to me? So that's number one, is pay attention to those little items. Again, your lender should be doing that for you. That's the biggest thing, that and the pre-qualifications and making sure you've got open dialogue with who you're working with.
What when it comes to terms, like we're talking about interest rates, that what terms are you recommending to your clients right now? Because some people, I will say, in 2021, 22, at the advice of their bank or whoever gave them the advice, they took shorter terms and now have potentially hurt themselves because they're paying a higher interest rate now. So what are you recommending for a term right now?
Yeah, thanks, Murray. This is
hey, we can't just let you out of here.
Yeah.
Put the spotlight on him. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to take a shot or anything. I just find that the best rates were people were able to get at 1 and 2 years, but the rates ended up going up. That wasn't anticipated. I get it, right? But they did go up, and now those people are renewing. And some of them, the stress test, they were still within their stress test, which is fine. But now they're going to be coughing up an extra $400 or $500 a month for their mortgage that they weren't planning on, regardless, right? So,
yeah, you know what? The very first thing, I mean, this is the most common question that's asked is, what term should I be looking at going into? And most of the time, it's like, what is your opinion, Dennis, on it? The very first thing I do, Murray, is when I'm talking to clients, it's what are you wired for? Some people are wired for a variable rate mortgage, and some aren't. Some people are super conservative. They may want to go into a variable, but it's just they're gonna have a heart attack every month when rates change. So what I'm talking about, I go over, again, as part of the budgeting, I go over with clients to really get a feel for what is their risk tolerance on a mortgage. The easy answer is we think rates are coming down, or we know rates are coming down right now, but we just don't know how fast they're coming. So it's very hard to play that. Now, if you go into a variable rate mortgage with the anticipation that rates are coming down, you're in a very high rate. Like you're still around 6% because it's prime, minus, but you're still very high compared to the fixed. So the question is, how long is it going to take for rates to get down? We don't know. Nobody's got the crystal ball to know that. We know they're going down, but what is your tolerance? So a lot of people right now, some are still going in the 5-year, few going into the variable. The shorter, like midterm, like the 3-year, is kind of a popular 3-year, 5-year right now. So the 3 years at about 5.3, the 5 years about 499. So that's kind of where everybody's falling right now. If you're kind of playing the market, you'll go into the 3-year. If not, then you're probably looking at a 5-year still.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
So again, yeah, if I have a young client that is a first-time home buyer and their budgeting is tight, I still recommend going into the 5-year term, and just everything is consistent for them and constant while they're adjusting to the expenses of owning a home. If someone's really wanting to play the market and they think they're convinced it's going to be a lower rate 3 years, then it's whatever you did the right decision based on what you knew at that time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what? We've got a little bit of time left here, but I want to make sure, because you've mentioned it a couple times, we've mentioned it a couple times. We always have to remember that sometimes our viewers maybe don't know the true definitions of certain things. So I'll put you on the spot here. People bank, TD, CIBC, everything like that, but then we also have mortgage brokers. Now, this is the conversation, the three of us, we deal with this every day. Can you let the people out there know? Because I know when people come into my open houses, I say, you might have, and I'm no offense to the bank company, I'm just picking one out of my head. You banked at TD since you were a little kid. Your money's been in there the whole time. Doesn't mean you have to go with them for a mortgage. So can you kind of distinguish the two? And then, you're allowed now, Dennis, you got the stage. Kind of give a little bit of a plug about mortgage brokers and what you guys can do for people.
Okay, well, thanks, Jess. Really, I mean, my background is banking. So I was in banking for 18 years. So I know that side of the business extremely well. The main difference between when you're dealing with a banker and say a mortgage broker is that as a broker, we work with several lenders, including the banks, credit unions, and what they call monolines, which are like your digital banks and things of that nature. The easiest way to put it is when you go into the bank, really the best that they can offer you is just whatever they have in their portfolio. So we'll pick on TD because you said TD. So all the rep at TD can offer you is whatever TD has. As a mortgage broker, we're working for you. So it makes no difference to me if the deal goes to TD, RBC, or CIBC. It's who's going to provide you the best mortgage. And trust me, they are quite different as you start kneeling into it. Also, when it comes to negotiation power, you're going in with your $400,000 mortgage. We're dealing with millions of dollars at a time, and it's all we do all day long. So we can take a lot of that stress out. We can shop it. When you're sitting with me, it's like you're sitting with 40 different lenders all at the same time. So the biggest difference there, and they pay us, so we charge no fees at all when it comes to it. So the biggest difference is if you're dealing with a bank, you're getting maybe the best that they want to offer you versus with us, we're putting what's best for you up front all the time. And I highly recommend, highly, if you are dealing with a bank, and so many people are loyal because they've had that account since they were 14 years old, always get a second opinion, always. And that's important. I offer second opinions. We don't charge you anything to do it. It just either validates that you've got a good deal with your bank or you need to improve upon it a little bit more.
It's funny. I had a bank tell one of my clients that, no, a broker's going to charge you way more. And I'm like, no, I was trying to explain it to them, right? Like, and the bank was so adamant because they're trying to get their business obviously directly, but they were very adamant that the brokers were a bad way to go and it was going to cost them a ton of money. So
no, you know what, Mary, it used to be like, I mean, back 20 years ago when it was newer, people weren't sure. And there's a lot of that kind of stuff that would go out there. It's not like that anymore. I mean, and the other thing I should add in there is availability. I mean, I'm available all the time. Other brokers are as well. Just test it out the next time you're with one of you guys to call a broker. You'll probably get a hold of them, if they're working for you. So,
And I
think that it's definitely. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, I think that goes a long way. When you mention something like that, I know I can't speak for Murray, but if I'm in a listing meeting and, I put everything on the table and I say, if you want to interview someone else, that's okay. There's options out there. But this is why I think this is the best decision. So I know for me, because I just built last year, so I had to talk to banks and mortgage brokers. I did both myself personally. And I think it went a long way when someone says, yeah, I want you to check out different options. And if you come back to me, there's a reason why, because I've done this. Rather than a bank or whoever putting pressure on you and saying, no, this is it. You shouldn't go anywhere else. And not really give you the reasons. So I think that's great that you offer that to your clients there. So quickly before we let you go, people are getting ready. They're getting really excited and stuff like that. Before they call you, and don't worry, we'll give you your main line, not yourself.
I only have one number, Jesse. It is just the cell. So that's
we'll give where he vacations. No. But so now when people see your information, what would you like people to do when they make that first phone call to you or make that first email? Do people feel like, oh, I got to have a letter by my employer already, or I got to have this, I got to, check with all my numbers first. They're already stressed before they even call you. But how can you kind of ease that down a little bit?
Oh, very easy. Just call. It's you don't need to have a bunch of information ready. I'm going to walk you through the full steps from the beginning to the end. So our first communication is really going to be what I call a discovery call. So when your client calls me, it's going to be very casual. I understand the stresses of buying a home, and it doesn't matter if you're a first buyer or a next buyer. It's stressful. It's stressful when we do it ourselves. So I get that. So it's really my first communication with them is just to touch base with them, get a feel of what their goals are, what they're wanting to do. Then we get into the meat and potatoes and go through it from there. So really, let's talk about it. Let's start with that. Let's see if we're a right fit and make sure that's going to work for you. Then I'll know what I need from you guys. So just make the call. Or better yet, allow me to call you, which is usually the easier way to do it.
I usually send my info to, like, if they're coming to me, I usually send it to whoever I'm dealing with, right? Here you go, give them a shout.
One of the things that, and I just, ran into somebody again this past weekend at an open house. hello, how long have you been kind of, looking for a home? Well, it's been a couple of years. And I asked him, I said, how's it been going? Well, and for me as a realtor, I don't like hearing that. My job is to try to take away the stress that people are going through. So it's our job to either put them in, into the right place, whether it's as much as we can do, or if they've been dealing financially with something, let's hook them up with Dennis. So then, because it's supposed to be a great experience.
Yeah, no,
it's not supposed to be
It's supposed to
stressful.
yeah,
We can't
I
take
agree.
away everything, and I know you guys can't, and we can't. But there's a lot of things that we can do. So yeah, just a simple phone call. It's that easy, right?
It's that easy. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Well,
It
Dennis,
is. We'll walk it here.
anything else, Murray?
No.
Oh, this is
no.
great. You know what, Dennis, we could, thank you so much for your time. We could have this, into a 3-parter, because you provide so much great information. Check them out on social media, folks. I mean, you think that I do videos.
Now you're embarrassing. Now you're
Not
embarrassing.
embarrassing. No, come on
Now
now.
you're
I don't have
embarrassing me,
fancy
Jessica.
filters behind me. No, you know what? But that's great to see, Dennis, because you again, you are showing people that you are going to be there. So people, when they contact Dennis, it is the truth out there that Dennis and the rest of his team, no matter what your questions are, they're there for you. So again, Dennis, thank you so much for joining us on Realtor Talk. Painless, right?
Absolutely. Thank you. And thanks for letting me be part of this, guys. I love your show. I love your content. You guys are killing it.
Appreciate it. All right, Dennis, take care. All the best.
Take care.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, and again, I've been, a realtor for, 8.5 years. And again, you still see it on, and I know you still see it as well. I thought maybe Dennis was gonna.
He was trying to stay
he
with
wanted-
us. So
he
I got
wanted
rid of
to- Yeah,
I shut the door on him today.
take a seat in the back. We'll
You know,
continue.
there you
No, just it really gets me when people are just like, oh, this experience. Now I get it. There's a lot that comes into it. Maybe you lost out on a couple houses, or with inspections, maybe you fell in love with the house, and then you found that there's many things that are wrong with it. But yeah, it's kind of a good feeling when you can help people kind of take that stress away.
Well, the reality of our jobs is that what it's supposed to be, right? We're supposed to be out there helping them find a home, or sell their home, or whatever, and to make it as easy as possible for them. And like Jesse said earlier, there's no way to remove all that stress and make sure everything's perfect. But if problems come up, it's how we deal with them and how we help you get through them, right? And that's really our job. So we need to help with that, and having contacts like Dennis and all the other contacts that we have to make this experience as good as possible for people.
Yeah, whether it's Dennis or a couple other mortgage brokers out there, there's been a lot of situations where it's a phone call going, I need your help. Like, we got to save this, whether paperwork wasn't put in, properly by the, buyer, maybe they're missing a couple documents. We've got conditions that are supposed to be met in a couple hours. And I'll tell you, when you have the right person on your side, it makes a huge difference. A couple of things that I want to say just before we go, and we'll talk here. Heading into the spring market and things that people should be doing. Another thing is, a lot of people have been talking out there because when they go to their mailbox, the old assessments have coming out. So you'll see a lot of people, realtors, not just regular people, but a lot of realtors offering their services out there as well. Every 2 years you can challenge your taxes if you're not, happy with it. Well, not happy with it, but if you don't agree with it, nobody's ever happy with it.
Not happy with it, same thing.
Sure, city take more money. Market evaluations is what we do a lot during this time of year. In the last couple of weeks, I've probably done about 8 to 10, and there's been some that have been good and some that have gone the opposite way.
Any of the ones I've looked at, the city's been under what we've came up with, so they've been in a better boat. But I mean, I have a client in a condo right now, actually, that her assessment's going up. We're trying to find her new place right now, but her assessment's going up, and if somehow she's still in this condo by 2025, it's actually significantly overpriced relative to what she'd be able to sell for. So that's a conversation that we're having right now with her, what the right move is, hoping she's going to sell, and then it'll just kind of go. But it is something that's reality, and people face it, but I mean, there is a lot of cases where they will be still under evaluated by the city.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions about that, I wanted to jump in and just quickly remind people that we can do that, for you guys out there. So give a call to Murray and I. We would love to help you guys out with that. The spring market. I mean, and we kind of feel like we're in the spring market right now. So there's
beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we can talk about, right? Obviously we can't, make front yards and backyards look fantastic with the weather here. But maybe that means doing a little bit more on the inside, whether it is staging or things like that.
For sure. And my recommendation to every single person that owns a house out there, take some pictures of your yard in the middle of the beautiful part when your yard looks great, like end of June, early July, when things look amazing.
Yeah.
Take those pictures so that we can utilize them during this time of year, because it's very important. People can't see it. I mean, last thing someone wants to do is buy a house, and then in the spring they're so disappointed at what was under the snow.
Yeah.
It just sucks for them, but it's also better for you selling your house, because then it looks way more appealing.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, if you're planning on doing that, like say in the fall, it's a good thing to take, elements that you really want to showcase of your home as well, right? So that's a good point to make right there. So heading into the spring market, give Murray and I a call. It's trending towards more of a balanced market. We can kind of see out there, but supply and demand. There's the spring market always brings out the more buyers than any other time in the year. And if the supply is not there, the demand is going to go up.
Yep.
And that
Back
can mean
into sellers.
exactly. So then we're going to have prices going up as well. So remember, at the end of the day, it's not us raising up the prices, right? Don't get mad at us. It's just the market out there. So I have a good plan in place, and that first step is calling one of us.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
All right. Well,
Okay.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Real Tor Talk. We're so excited for 2024 and what this show will bring to you guys. We always love suggestions as well. If you guys ever want us to talk to somebody out there, let us know. Like, shares on the Google, keep spreading it out there.
Yep.
Right?
Spread the word for us, please. This is here to help people. And the more topics you guys give us, the more likely we're going to cover stuff that's really important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Take care, guys.
Okay, take care. Talk soon.